So I recently came across this video on TikTok.
Something that really changed my life this year is realizing that I actually didn't need more rest. I needed more accomplishments.
And honestly, I don't know if I've ever agreed with anything more. As someone who spent all of 2023 trying to recover from burnout and failing miserably, I wish I knew what I know now. So I didn't have to waste a year of my life trying to figure this stuff out on my own. And I don't want that for you either. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything I learned in that year to recover from burnout and to help you understand why, regardless of how many trips you go on or how much rest you get or how much sleep you get, you're still feeling stressed and burnt out. Plus, I'm going to be giving you some practical tips on how you can solve it. One of them you can do today. It doesn't cost any money, and I'll walk you through the whole process so that by the end of this video, you'll already start feeling better. But for it to work, you need to understand what burnout is and where it comes from. So, what is burnout? Burnout is a state of physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion. Despite what many people think, burnout doesn't actually come from overworking, which is why there are lots of people in super demanding jobs who never burn out. Burnout is a mental state, not a physical one. Burnout happens when your life doesn't get the appropriate rewards for the amount of effort you put in. You're doing a lot of stuff, but you're not receiving very much. When that happens, it reduces your ability to cope with stress over time until you hit what I call your personal burnout threshold. It differs for everyone, but if you keep having all this stress and you don't get enough reward, your cup becomes empty and you'll stop being able to cope with things that you traditionally were just fine with. Things that would roll off your back now become overwhelming. You stop caring about things as much. You feel like you have no capacity, which is why all the rest and relaxation in the world can't help it. And to add insult to injury, you'll start looking for ways to escape that stress. This is why things like traveling and doom scrolling become attractive when you're burnt out. They give you, one, a sense of control over your life, and two, they act as a distraction from what's really happening. Burnout comes from prolonged, unresolved stress, from feeling like you have little or no control or agency in your life. And that's worrying because many of us spend the majority of our time in lives where we don't really have much control. Usually, the biggest culprit is work. That's where you spend over 50% of your waking hours. And for a lot of people, the only reward that they get from work is money. And that's bad because study after study after study show that money is actually a really terrible reward for humans, which is why people who are incredibly well paid still get burnt out. The lack of control that causes burnout is also the reason why big life events can trigger a burnout. That's what happened in my case. I lost 3 family members in the space of 2 weeks, all independently of each other. One of them was my dad, who had battled 5 years with dementia. And I had just launched a product that took a year in the making. And that was the most stressful time of my life. So at the end of it, I just completely crashed out. But luckily, I had a job that was very, very kind. And when all that happened, they let me take a 3-month sabbatical. And so I spent 3 months traveling the world, eating and sleeping like a hooligan. I did the rest, I did massage, I did everything. And after the 3 months, I went back to work. But I was still just as tired and exhausted and drained as when I left. I wasn't cured. You don't recover from burnout by resting. Rest is a huge component of it, don't get me wrong, but it's not just rest. All the sleep, all the massages, all the rest in the world can't fix it if you don't deal with the root cause of the problem. Everything you try and everything they try to sell you will just be escapism, distracting you from fixing the real problem. So, how do you fix burnout? This may seem obvious, but first you have to get rid of the stress. And by that, I don't necessarily mean quitting your job, getting rid of your kids, cutting yourself off from your family, and never having stress again. That's not it. It means identifying what's in your life that's stressing you out and either radically accepting it or changing it. Whenever I feel stressed or overwhelmed, I remember the Serenity Prayer. And even if you're not religious, it helps because it helps you frame things better. Here's how it goes. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Once you understand that everything that's happening to your life fits in one of those three buckets, you can quickly either act or accept what is happening to you. And that will give you a much better sense of control over your life. And that's where the trick that I mentioned earlier, you can do today to help cure your burnout, comes from. First, take out a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a piece of paper, a notebook, an iPad, your notes app, something to write stuff down. You have to physically write stuff down, not just think it. Draw a table, and on the left side, you're gonna write frustration. Write down everything in your life that makes you feel overwhelmed, stressed. It doesn't matter how small or how big. It could be very wide or very specific. Let's use work as an example. A wide one will be, I hate my job. It covers everything you hate about your job. Or it could be something small. I don't like the fact that my boss micromanages me. Those are two different examples from the same scenario. Choose one, whichever one resonates with you the best. Now, in the other column, you're gonna write actions. Do you want to change it? Do you want to accept it? Or do you want to remove it? Don't worry about the how. That's not important. All you want to do is be super clear on that decision. The goal with this step is to get you to feel more empowered. You want to feel like you are making these decisions intentionally. I will wait for you to write at least 3 and come to a decision. But make sure to come back so you can actually hear some of the more long-term things you can do to help cure your burnout.
One eternity later.
All done? Welcome back. I'm so proud of you for doing that. These are the first steps to taking back control of your life and helping you cure your burnout. Now onto some more long-term things that you can't necessarily do today. Okay, so like Lynn said, accomplishing things is one of the most powerful ways to make you feel like you have agency in your life. For me, the thing that kicked me in the butt and helped cure my burnout was actually being made the COO of a startup. It's so ironic because I worked harder than I had in months. The first week, we were pulling 20-hour days, and that was more helpful for my burnout than my whole vacation. Having such hard, ambitious goals and accomplishing them was like a hard reset for my brain. Remember when I said continuous stress depletes your ability to cope? Continuous accomplishments refill your cup. Unfortunately, becoming CEO, that's not really something we can replicate today. So we're gonna take apart why work and see how we can make it work for you. First, I wanna actually back off from the word accomplishments. There's too much mental pressure and stress in the word, so let's abandon it. I just want you to do more stuff. Every single thing you do is like a rep in the gym. It makes you stronger. But you can't just go doing things willy-nilly. You have to be intentional about it so that your brain knows that you are accomplishing things and feels a sense of control. You need to own the choice, own the delivery, and the most important part, celebrate it after. Open your mouth and say just how proud you are of yourself for getting that thing done. It might sound a bit like woohoo manifestation stuff, but it actually works. Your brain needs to hear it and you need to feel it in your bones. That's what makes it concrete and helps you actually believe. Remember, what we want in every stage of the process is intentionality. That's what's going to reset your brain. Okay, now I'm going to help you figure out what kind of things you can do to help you reset. It's going to be different based on where you live, your personality, what you have access to, your financial status, what you enjoy. But here's a few simple guidelines when you're choosing. First, start small. Pick something that can be done in one day. Remember, you need to start building reps. So small things you can accomplish quickly means you can do a lot of them. If you pick one big thing, you don't get as many reps. At this stage, what we want is quantity over quality. Second, make your goals defined. That way you can tell when it actually has been accomplished. And that's really important because you need to know when it ends so you know when to celebrate. Third, pick something that's mildly challenging. It shouldn't be completely easy because then the celebration will seem hollow and it won't give you the satisfaction you need. But it shouldn't be so difficult that you don't think you can accomplish it. That will come later. Right now, pick things you're about 80% sure that you can complete and then go for it. Also, remember, this thing doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be as simple as learning a new hobby, finishing a book, depending on the length of the book, going for a walk, hiring a personal trainer. But make sure it is something small enough that you can do it, hard enough that it requires effort, and something that you'll probably enjoy doing. The goal is to get as many reps as possible. So don't overthink it. Pick something and then write it down, say it out loud, and then go do it. And here's a bonus tip. If you really want to supercharge your healing, start an accomplishments jar or a journal, some way to visually represent just how many accomplishments you have. That physical representation will cement in your brain that you have control over your own life. And even without doing more things, looking at your complete jar, looking at the jar as it fills up, will also give you a super boost of accomplishments. Keep doing this over and over again. As your cup gets fuller, as you develop more capacity, one day you'll wake up and realize the burnout is gone. You also realize that you've developed superpowers, because now you'll trust yourself to push things out and accomplish your goals in ways that you won't even recognize. You'll be just as unstoppable as I know you can be. Burnout is a terrible thing. It sucks the life out of you. I know, I've been there, but you absolutely can recover from it. I did. And so more than anything, I want to help others not just recover from it, but avoid it in general. It's the reason why I started this channel and started creating content. I want to create a community of people who want to, and this is super millennial of me, live their best lives. My name is Tammy, and I consider myself a cozy capitalist. I want to help everyone build wealth without burning out, without hustle culture. I want to prove to the whole world, to myself and to you, that you can make money with kindness and empathy and rest and relaxation and build a life that is worth living, not just a struggle. And if that's something that sounds like what you want, make sure to subscribe. I post videos on how to build your business and how to build your life in a way that is fun and enjoyable. And I document how I'm doing it for myself so that you can see it's actually possible. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about failure and how to make it your superpower on your journey to success. See you then. Ciao! O dabo. Bye!